Welcome to this explainer. I want you to imagine, just for a second, the literally monumental task of designing the morals for an entirely new country. When a nation is born, it needs way more than just a strict penal code, right? It needs a vision for the future. So today, we're diving into exactly how a nation encodes these long-term aspirations into its very foundation. We're going to explore what is, essentially, a grand national vision board.
Okay, so let's get right into it. We're talking about the Directive Principles of State Policy, or DPSPs for short. You'll find these tucked right into Part 4 of the Constitution, specifically spanning Articles 36 through 51. I want you to think of these principles as a master blueprint for governance. They're not just bureaucratic red tape. They are the literal, moral compass of the state, relentlessly pursuing social, economic, and political justice. Now, looking at this comparison, here's where the inherent tension of nation-building really emerges. On the one hand, you've got enforceable laws. These are justiciable, meaning a court will strictly enforce a penalty if they're broken. But on the other hand, you have our directive principles. These are non-justiciable. You literally cannot sue the government for failing to follow these immediately. Which of course raises a pretty fascinating question. If a judge can't enforce them, why put them in the Constitution at all? Well, their true power lies in long-term inspiration rather than immediate punishment.
To truly grasp the scope of this, we're going to take a narrative approach today. There are exactly 16 key principles outlined in the text, and to see the society they're desperately trying to build, we're going to group them into 3 highly visual thematic chapters.
Chapter 1, The Economy and the Village, Building from the Ground Up.
So where do you start? Well, you start at the grassroots. A thriving economy is the foundation of any nation. This moral compass specifically directs the state to secure an adequate livelihood, making sure material resources actually serve the common good, and guaranteeing the right to work and public assistance for the vulnerable. But it goes way beyond just having a job. It envisions workers actively participating in the management of industries, while aggressively promoting local cottage industries. And anchoring all of this is the drive to organize village panchayats. This places actual economic power directly into the hands of local communities.
And honestly, this right here shows just how incredibly progressive this vision board really is. Tucked right into Article 39D is a mandate for equal pay for both men and women for equal work. Think about how foundational that is. By locking the goal of absolute gender wage equality right into the Constitution's moral compass, the state is given a permanent North Star for all its labor laws. Moving right along to Chapter 2, Justice, Health and Care, a Safety Net for All Citizens. As you can see laid out here, a true safety net has to balance legal justice with the everyday physical needs of the human body. Under Article 39A, the state is directed to ensure justice isn't just some luxury reserved for the wealthy. It mandates free legal aid for the poor. But justice also means dignity in daily life, right? That's exactly why Article 42 demands just and humane working conditions, explicitly including maternity relief. Meanwhile, Article 47 tasks the state with raising nutrition levels and the overall standard of living to ensure broad public health. Now, regarding legal uniformity across a massive diverse population, the text gives a very specific directive. Article 44 tasks the government to endeavor to secure a uniform civil code. The stated moral goal here is to strive for a single set of civil laws that apply equally to everyone, aiming to unify the legal experience across the entire nation. Next up, Chapter 3, Environment and Heritage, Protecting the Past and the Planet.
You see, a nation's moral compass can't just look inward at its citizens. It has to be incredibly wide-reaching. I mean, it literally safeguards the physical planet, protecting forests and wildlife under Article 48A to ensure a healthy environment. It looks at the agricultural lifeblood, prohibiting the slaughter of cows, calves, and draft cattle. But it also guards its history, mandating the protection of national monuments in Article 49. And finally, Article 51 zooms all the way out to the global stage, directing the state to actively foster international peace, security, and respect for treaty obligations. It's the whole shebang.
Finally, Chapter 4, From Dreams to Reality, When a Vision Becomes a Law. So you might be asking, how do these non-enforceable directives actually create real change? What happens when one of these moral goals graduates into a strict legal reality? Well, just look at the evolution of Article 45. In the past, this article held the moral directive to provide free and compulsory education for children up to 14 years of age. It was a goal, a dream on the vision board. But as the country developed the actual capacity to enforce this, that dream evolved. Today, Free and compulsory education for that age group has officially graduated into an absolute enforceable fundamental right under Article 21A. But here's the coolest part. Because that older age bracket became a legally enforceable right, the Vision Board didn't just, sit there gathering dust. It updated itself. Actually, scratch that. It adapted. Article 45 immediately adapted to focus its moral directive entirely onto the next frontier, early childhood care and education for kids under the age of 6. It just goes to show that these directives are living, breathing goals that continuously push the nation forward. So, to wrap this all up, what should you really take away from this explainer? The profound impact of these 16 principles is absolutely undeniable. They serve as the unwavering moral compass of the state, relentlessly driving towards social, economic, and political justice. Even though you can't drag the government into court over them today, they remain absolutely fundamental to governance. They're the ongoing inspiration that shapes the national laws, policies, and development goals of tomorrow, basically acting as the permanent bridge between the nation we are and the nation we strive to be.
It really makes you rethink how a society is built from the ground up, doesn't it? If a rule isn't enforced by a judge's gavel, is it still essential to a country's survival and growth? I'll leave you to ponder the true, lasting power of a moral compass. Thanks for joining me.